Welcome back to Morning Line on AM 560 KWTO. Dave Smith is with us, and want to welcome our special guest, Dave.
Okay, good. Who do we have, Senator on?
We have Senator Roy Blunt, who just landed in the area and is going to be attending the I-49 opening down in the Joplin area. Senator, thanks for joining us.
Hey, good morning, Rob. Good morning, Dave. Nice to be with both of you.
Thank you, sir. How's everything in Washington? Are we going to fall off this physical cliff?
Well, we might, but maybe there's a ledge if we do. I don't think we're going to go off the cliff, but the president needs to lead. This is a moment where really more than any other time in his presidency, before or after, he's going to define what his second term looks like, and hopefully it won't be like the first term, and he'll decide that he's going to get out there and lead towards solutions that can happen. You know, it's one thing to say you're for things that you know can't possibly happen. It's another thing to find something that he can be for, that the Speaker of the House and a House controlled by conservatives and Republicans can also feel like that they could move forward on that agreement. And so this is a critical time to get our spending under control, and that seems to be the thing that the president's least interested in right now.
Well, do you think that those people even understand the meaning of the word compromise? Because we take a look at what they did with Obamacare when they just rolled the Republicans over and passed it without a Republican vote. Do you think that they're empowered by that? They think that they can just roll the Republicans over in the House and all you guys in the Senate are supposed to take a vacation or something?
Well, we'll see. You know, the Republicans in the Senate, in many ways, are sort of outside commentators on this agreement. This is an agreement where I'm in the minority in the Senate, but the Republicans in the House are in the majority, and I am concerned that the president doesn't seem to realize the campaign is over. These events around the country are not going to solve this problem. He can go to every congressional district of some House Democrat that he wants to and give every speech he wants to give, and it won't solve this problem. The way to solve this problem is to negotiate a solution that everybody can be for. You know, the president was reelected president, but the House of Representatives pretty easily stayed Republican by having exactly the opposite positions on many of these issues that the president has. And we're going to see in the next few days if the president recognizes that or not in a way that he can come up with the kind of compromise that Speaker Boehner and House Republicans can be for. And if they can be for it, it's going to get the 60 or so votes in the Senate it needs. All the Republicans in the Senate may not vote for it. All the Democrats in the Senate may not vote for it. But this is really something I happened to see the president recently, and Chance, and we were talking about this, and I said, you really can't come up with a solution that a majority of Republicans in the House can't be for, or the Speaker will not be any kind of helpful partner in anything else you do from now on, because he'll be weakened if he doesn't have an agreement that half of his members, at least half of his members, can be for. And an agreement like that has to have long-term spending reforms so that these programs that we depend on, Social Security and Medicare particularly, will last. They will not last unless they're reformed. The current level of spending can't be maintained, and everybody understands that, and they also understand there's a way to do that, Dave, that doesn't affect people that are using those programs now or within 5 years, 10 years or so of those programs. But they have to be reformed so they'll be there in the future, and otherwise the spending is unmanageable.
Well, you know, Senator, one of the things that always amazed me is how they went from Social Security, you know, being a benefit to an entitlement. You know, and most of us, and I know you participated in it in your working life, we paid into it for some people up to 50 or 60 years, and now they're calling it an entitlement. And as you well know, the employee paid part of it, and his employer paid part of it, which was part of his salary. I mean, any way you want to cut it, it was still salary expense. And now they want to call it an entitlement. How did it become an entitlement?
Well, an entitlement is really anything that if you meet the definition, you get the money. And there are all kinds of people are sometimes offended by the idea that people are entitled to anything, and then sometimes they think that that's another connotation for a government program you didn't earn. This happens to be a program, if you meet the definition, if you're old enough to receive the benefit and you paid in to the system, you're going to get the benefit. We need to be sure that that benefit is equally secure for people who are paying in, who are just starting to pay into the system now. And, Dave, the fact is that people live a lot longer than they used to. They work longer than they used to, and they generally can work longer than they used to. My dad qualified for Social Security at 65. I'll be 67. My children are going to be older than that if this system survives, and they know it. And the sooner we make that change and a couple of other changes to Social Security and Medicare, the more easily those programs will be preserved, and we need to do that, and this is a good time to do it. And by the way, divided government's a good time to solve big problems. If you have everybody's fingerprints on the solution, it usually doesn't become much of a long-term political issue. You just go on and accept the solution and deal with the other things that political parties are always going to fight about. This doesn't have to be one of them if we'll do it the right way.
Well, I appreciate it, and I didn't mean to sidetrack you, Senator, but it's always good to hear from you, and the candidness with which you reply, I always appreciate. But tell us about our highway project. I know that's why you came into town, and you're here to celebrate the opening of it. Tell us about it. We'd like to hear more.
Well, it is, and I am literally just in and out today because of the naming of this highway on the west side of the state, all the way from Kansas City, almost to the Arkansas border. Interstate 44, it's been a long time effort of mine. All the time I've served in the House and the Senate, this has been one of the projects that I wanted to see get done. It really has changed transportation along the west side of our state, and soon will link us up all the way in the next few years, I'm convinced, to Shreveport, Louisiana, and then down to Interstate 10 on the Gulf, and we'll have a north-south highway on the west side of the state, like Interstate 44 is on Interstate 55 is on the east side of the state. So seeing Highway 71, which was still in some places a two-lane highway 15 years ago, meet interstate standards, and seeing those signs all turned around today is a big thing for Missouri. I was the chairman of the I-49 caucus, the co-chairman of that caucus. Senator Bozeman, just south of us in Arkansas, our neighbor in Bentonville and Rogers, and served that congressional district. At one time was the co-chairman with me of that caucus as well. And people from North Dakota to Louisiana have real opportunities because this highway meets a different standard, and it has real economic potential for all of southwest Missouri and now all of western Missouri, because in Kansas City you get on I-29 or I-35 and you go straight north from there on interstate highway as well. And we all know that these interstate highway systems started in the 50s by President Eisenhower have made a huge difference in the economic potential of the areas they touch, and frankly made a difference the other way in the areas that they're not close to. And so it's going to be good to see Highway 71 become Interstate 49 today in our state.
Now, you're going to be over in Joplin today for this event?
I am. This is basically Joplin, Neosho, Pineville, Lamar, all the way up to Kansas City. That's the area that's immediately impacted by this. But for all the Joplin's neighbors, Springfield will benefit by being that much closer now to a north-south highway. I'll be at Monette for other purposes for a little bit this afternoon before I come home to Springfield to get back to Washington. But all of our state will benefit, and the southwest corner of Missouri will benefit dramatically from now this new interstate standard. This is something. When I went to the Congress, Dave, we didn't have a single person from Southwest Missouri on the Missouri Highway Commission, the MoDOT, the Missouri Department of Transportation, not the fastest growing part of the state. For whatever reason, the governor at that time didn't have anybody on the commission from our part of the state. And so much of Interstate 71 was done first by Gene Taylor and then later by me saying, no, we're going to build in the next highway bill, this part of Highway 71 is going to be brought up to interstate standards. And then Jim Anderson, the director of the Springfield Chamber, and Rudy Farber after him went on the Highway Commission. I think we've accomplished this goal in longer than people thought it would take in 1970, but a lot quicker than people thought it would take just 10 years ago to get I-49 part of our transportation network that all Missourians now have access to.
Are you going to be available to meet and greet some people in some of these various communities?
Well, there'll be people at the ribbon cutting for I-79. I'm going to have an event before I go there at Pineville, at the courthouse in Pineville to see what's happening there with their efforts to turn the old courthouse into a museum, and then up to Joplin and then on to Monette, and I'll be seeing the folks I work for at all of those places, Dave.